Hello Andy, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role at NelsonHall, please?
Sure. My name's Andy Efstathiou. I'm the director of the banking program at NelsonHall. So I cover business process outsourcing in the banking sector. And the four key processes that we cover are payments, core banking or depository banking, mortgage and loan processing, and finally securities processing.
Thank you. You've been analysing reference data BPO market recently. Is it a growth opportunity?
It's a big growth opportunity right now. There are two main areas of reference data, account-based data and also securities-based data. Securities-based data is much larger and is growing as banks expand into emerging markets and new security types. And then on the account-based data, that's much smaller than securities-based, but it's growing much more rapidly as regulators have insisted on greater AML, KYC type of data, as well as banks, again, are going into emerging economies and taking on whole new hosts of account holders. So it's growing very rapidly, double-digit growth.
You touched on it there, but what factors are driving this growth?
Lots of things. The increase in regulation, I'm sure you've all heard about the various fines for inappropriate people opening accounts or using them for inappropriate purposes. Monitoring that is critical to eliminating fines as well as to getting licensing in new markets. Again, securities, there's a whole host of new securities being created in various emerging markets, and the data for that needs to be established. The taxonomies are somewhat different, so the taxonomies need to be established. And most importantly for all of these, it needs to go live rapidly. So banks are looking to outsource the service in order to enable brand new data capture much faster than they used to, as well as change the taxonomies of the underlying data that's being acquired much more rapidly. And then, of course, you need to make it much more consistent across geographies in order to have it roll up into something that means something.
Thank you. So what benefit would a bank get from adopting this?
I think first and foremost is a better understanding of their own business. The banks have historically been siloed. The taxonomy of information has varied from region to region, even from city to city within the same country, and from individual product lines within even the same city. You need to have a much more consistent understanding of what you're doing in the business, and some of the more complex fraud schemes, as example, are based on an inability of a bank to reach across silos. So much better understanding of the business, much better understanding of what drives profitability in the business, much better or faster time to market in terms of entering new markets and making a beachhead that would establish you as a relevant player in the market.
Thank you. Finally, what are the suppliers doing to enhance their capabilities to deliver these types of services?
Well, this has typically been a very manual type of process. So the biggest single thing that the vendors are doing is automating a greater percentage of the process. And that produces tenfold cost decreases if you can automate the process. They're not automating the majority of the process, but they're automating enough of the process to make a significant impact on the overall cost of execution. Second thing is They are producing much greater consistency. Instead of having multiple delivery centers, they're concentrating those delivery centers into a few or even a single center of excellence for an individual vendor. And that produces much greater consistency both in terms of adoption of best practices across customers, as well as adoption of best practices across geography and business units within a single customer. So those are the major initiatives that the vendors are undertaking to drive better performance.